they eventually retired with brake problems. After 90 minutes, Hannes Krobler and Richard Leek were in the lead in the Nissan hardbody, but there was still the ever-present threat of Weir, Smith and Minnaert. The super team pair had dropped a few seconds on the Nissan, but were way ahead of their nearest rivals in the special vehicle category. Woolridge and Scholthammer won this event last year and were hoping for a repeat win, which would put them into an unassailable lead in the championship. But de Villiers and Jordan had other ideas. The onboard footage from the cockpit of the Ford and Nissan tells its own story. A bit of a miscalculation here on the part of Woolridge, but what a roller coaster ride. Still on board the Ford Racing Ranger as Makhakaneni powers past and Woolridge drops another place. Passed through the service point at the Tarka showgrounds without stopping. Weir, Smith and Minnaert decided on a similar servicing strategy, preferring to chase the leading Nissan hardbody. De Villiers had no choice but to stop.
The wiper doesn't work and we can't see in the mud. It's a bit of a problem. So we had to stop to rectify the wiper motor. You gotta go.
There were problems too for Makhakaneni and Sally. Valuable time was lost as the service crew tried to get the wheel off. Reineke and Houghton elected not to stop either, while in the Nashua Mobile Racing Pit there was gourmet fare on hand for the crews.
Don't feed the animals.
There were problems in the Foss pit. A torsion bar mounting had broken on the Nissan, but it was decided that he nursed the vehicle to the finish rather than waste time in the pits. The PlayStation Pajero pit.
We ran very low fuel because it's a rough route, and we thought a little bit of fuel, less weight, can go faster, so it's working.
Bad news for the Isuzu team. Corbett was out of the race. The lead had changed yet again. Weir, Smith and Minnaert were back in the lead and opening a good gap for the Nissan over the rough terrain. Krobler and Leek were not content with just leading the production vehicle category. They wanted the overall lead too. Victory on the Queen Motorspares Tarka 400 would bring their winning tally to 3 this season. Despite the suspension on the Nissan hardbody not being in good shape, Foss and Griffiths soldiered on at the head of the Class D field. A bit of a moment for Class F leaders Carolyn and Abram. The situation in Class E remained unchanged. The De Brains and the Toyota Hilux led from Schroeder and Peckham in the Ford Ranger, with the Duplessis brothers Andre and Yuri third in the Nissan hardbody. Taylor and Deschelaine were still the leaders in Class B, with Gil Nel second in the Look Africa Truggy and Carl van der Merwe in the Orco third. The lead had changed again, and Krobler and Leek were back in command, and in spectacular style at that. The Nissan hardbody hadn't missed a beat all day, and there was the added advantage of not having to stop to refuel. Woolridge and Scholthammer had moved into second place in the Ford Racing Ranger, and they too had not had to stop to refuel, which can save up to 10 minutes. Weir, Smith and Minnaert got stuck in a mud hole and then had to stop to refuel, which cost them 9 minutes. They were hell-bent on catching the 2 production vehicles. Genil de Villiers and Francois Jordan were also on a charge in the Nissan hardbody and were third overall in the production vehicle category ahead of veteran Arpi Reineke and Robin Houghton in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser. A puncture on the first lap and power steering problems cost them valuable time. Harvey and Stone in the Castrol Queen Motorspares Jimco were comfortably ensconced in second place in the special vehicle category. Past winner of the Tarka 400, Cliff Barker and Vic Comfer, were 7th overall in the trusty Barker Performance Products Land Rover. Terence Marsh and Trevor Ayer, the Nashua Mobile Jumco, which had earlier rolled down a mountainside and landed in a river, closely followed them. Championship contenders Greg Darce and Archie Rutherford were 4th overall in the special vehicle category in the Nashua Mobile Race Co. Production Vehicle Championship co-leaders Foss and Griffiths continued to nurse the ailing Nissan hardbody to the finish. The tension in the cockpit was palpable. Father and son, Bodo and Gary Berthold, started 33rd in the locally designed and built Bat and were 5th in the special vehicle category and on their way to their 5th finish of the season. Macha Khaneni's hopes of winning the Tarka 400 as a driver and a co-driver had flown out of the window after he picked up 3 punctures. A broken jack didn't help his cause either. A mud hole presented some crews with a problem. Fortunately, there was a tractor on standby. Take a look at the top contenders in the classes. In Class T, for unlimited 4-wheel drive vehicles, Krobler and Leek had opened a lead of over 6 minutes on Woolridge and Scholthammer in the Ford Racing Ranger, who were in turn 26 minutes ahead of Reinecker and Houghton in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser. They had a clean run during the second half of the race. In Class A, for unlimited space frame vehicles, Weir Smith and Minute in the O'Hagan's Kopanong Hotel Super Team Jumco had a 23-minute lead over Harvey and Stone in the Castrol Queen Motorspares Jumco, who had finished in every event in the Bankford Off-Road Championship. Marsh and Ayer survived their little excursion into the river and were 3rd, just on 30 minutes behind the leaders. In Class D, the Nissan hardbody of Foss and Griffiths limped towards the finish. Despite the suspension problem, they were 5th overall in the production vehicle category and 10th on the road, and had a 30-minute lead over brothers Henry and Maurice Mutton in the PlayStation Mastercraft Pajero. They in turn were 38 minutes ahead of the 3rd-placed brothers Mark and Stuart Moffat in the McCarthy Land Rover. Getting stuck in the mud hole and this puncture robbed Richard Carolyn and Scott Abram of a top 10 finish in the Class F Super Team Jeep. In Class E, reigning champions Manfred Schroeder, Jack Peckham had got by the De Brains and were 8th overall in the production vehicle category. The De Brains were 16 minutes behind the Ford Racing Ranger and 25 minutes ahead of the 3rd-placed Hannes Steen and Ferdy Seegers in the Toyota Hilux double cab. In Class B, Marcus Taylor and Mark de Chalane had a clean run in the truck time JRE. They were headed for their 5th consecutive class win and 6th finish out of 7 events. Reigning Class B champion Gil Nel in the Look Africa Truggy had to be content with 2nd place and trailed the leaders by over 5 minutes. Carl van der Merwe in the Orco was 39 minutes behind the leaders at this stage. A well-deserved victory for Hannes Krobler and Richard Leek, their 3rd win of the year and Nissan's 6th consecutive victory.
The Tarka Start event is not easy. It's the first time we finished it and we won it, so we're very, very happy.
The Queen Motorspares 400 will be remembered as one of the most hotly contested events in South African off-road racing. 2 class wins for Nissan, 1 for Ford and 1 for the Super Team. A popular 2nd special vehicle victory for the O'Hagan's Kopanong Hotel Super Team's John Weir Smith and a 1st for Jeff Minute in the Bankford Off-Road Championship.
To the organisers, we say thank you. To Andre Buerta, who is the main man behind all of this, and he doesn't really get into the limelight. We thank him a lot for his efforts. Our mechanics for putting this car together. And even the guy with that tractor that pulled us out the mud. There's so many people we need to thank and appreciate, and this team and the hours they spend and their dedication to it. It all adds up, and and to our darling wives that let us go and play like kids, we love them too. This is a way to spend a Saturday.
Class A vehicles occupied the top 7 places, and Harvey and Stone's second place finish puts them in a very strong position to win the title for the 3rd time. The final round of the Bankfin Off-Road Championship will be the Carnival City Casino 400 in Brakpan on the 29th and 30th of November. The event promises to be an exciting finale to a tightly fought championship, so see you there.